Tonight on CTV News at 6. Work continues to finalize an agreement.
Canadians expect us to get a deal that's in the economic interest of Canada and Canadian workers. We're very close.
Some clues are coming out on a tentative trade deal to avoid more Trump tariffs. And celebrating a continuing partnership.
We want to make sure everyone is safe, anywhere where they come from, down east, up north, out west.
First Nations along Highway 69 are awarded a new maintenance contract. Plus, preserving Canada's geological data.
What we're creating is a digital platform and a pathway for the digitized core or anything scanned.
Laurentian University collaborates on a national AI-ready platform.
CTV News at 6 with Marina Moore and Tony Rima with weather.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Trade negotiations continued in Washington today with word a deal could be imminent. Included in that deal is lowered tariffs in key sectors, including steel. Sault Ste. Marie's Algoma Steel has been hit hard by tariffs in the last 18 months. Tariffs started out as 25%, then jumped to 50%. In an interview with CTV News Channel last night, Sault Mayor Matthew Shoemaker says a reduction would be positive news, but not necessarily good news.
I think that we were, and the company was, and our government representatives were upset with tariffs at 25%. So bringing the tariffs from 50 down to 25 would certainly not be a positive outcome. Bringing them below that, I think, is the type of stability that steelmakers in Ontario would need to see in order to see this as a positive development.
On the other side of the negotiating table, the U.S. is asking for the return of American alcohol to Canadian store shelves. In a meeting with premiers, Prime Minister Mark Carney asked provinces to lift their bans. Doug Ford and other premiers say they are willing, but that they have conditions.
During the negotiations, if we get a fair deal that will protect our steel sector, our auto sector, our forestry sector, agriculture sector, manufacturing sector, then we'd be more than happy to bring booze back on the shelves only if we have a deal that's going to protect those sectors.
The Prime Minister has asked us to look at that. It's been an irritant. It's been something that has kind of really bothered the United States for so many reasons. Now, whether Nova Scotians or whether Canadians will actually buy it when it gets back on the shelves, that's a whole nother discussion.
And after another day of negotiations in Washington, we turn to CTV's Mike LeCouture to find out the latest on a potential trade deal with the United States.
After returning from Ottawa early this morning, Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc and Canadian negotiators held their longest session of talks with their American counterparts thus far. How close are we? The meeting lasted 3 hours and included the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, Marc-André Blanchard, while Canada's ambassador to the U.S., Mark Wiseman, was only in there for the first hour of the discussions. LeBlanc said little at the conclusion of the conversation, but he tried to reassure Canadians as the latest deadline is just over 24 hours away.
Canadians expect us to get a deal that's in the economic interest of Canada and Canadian workers. We're very close. We continue to make progress. And we're going to stay here and do the work that's necessary until we get to that point.
The three sources tell CTV News that there are reductions in Section 232 tariffs on the table as part of the agreement, but it's unclear how far those levies would go down. They would affect industries like steel, aluminum, and autos. We're also hearing from the premiers who were briefed by the Prime Minister about the talks. One of the concessions Canada has put on the table is returning American alcohol to store shelves. While many premiers seem supportive, not all are happy with Canada's concessions.
He's confident that they will reach an agreement, and as part of this agreement, he asked all of the provinces, as a sign of good faith, would we put U.S. liquor back on our shelves, and we all agreed.
They gave us some details, and other stuff they said they're still nailing down. So I wouldn't say that he was begging us, but what is a step before begging? I think we should fight. I think we've got the upper hand. They're back on their heels right now. They're coming to us for a deal, And so I think we should fight.
It's unclear if more meetings have been planned for Friday, but as Minister LeBlanc said as he left the meeting, they will continue to have more negotiations until they get a deal that's good for Canadians. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Washington.
In other news, one person has died after a single vehicle crash near Parry Sound. Police were called to a collision on Clear Lake Road in Whitestone Township around 10 last night. A 33-year-old from St. Catharines was killed and another person suffered minor injuries. Clear Lake Road was closed for several hours but has since reopened. A fire at a townhouse in North Bay earlier this week is now being treated as suspicious. That's according to fire officials who say the investigation is still ongoing. The blaze occurred shortly after 3 p.m. Monday on McNamara Street, where firefighters say there was significant damage to the inside of the home. The tenant was not home at the time and there were no injuries reported. A fire this afternoon has done significant damage to a home in the Copper Cliff area of Sudbury. We're told the fire was called in by someone working on renovations. The fire chief says heavy smoke was coming from the attic when crews arrived, and that residents living in the semi-detached home and their pets were evacuated by the fire department. No one was injured. Around the same time, a water main broke just up the street on Balsam. The use of hydrants didn't cause the break, according to the fire chief, and did not impede their ability to battle the blaze just 2 blocks away. The water main break has left many residents without water. Crews on site are telling residents the timeline for repairs is unknown at this time. Greater Sudbury police are looking for a suspect after calls about a video showing animal abuse circulating online. Police were able to review footage of the incident and subsequently seized the dog from a Lourdes Street residence. The dog was taken to a veterinary clinic for assessment and care. The person believed to be responsible was not home at the time. Police have applied for an arrest warrant. A 7-year-old dog from Nipigon has made it into the Purina Animal Hall of Fame for her bravery. A bear chased the dog into its home and attacked Chloe's owner, Colette. Chloe sprang into action, waking Colette's husband and blocking the bear from exploring the rest of the house. You can read more about Chloe's brave deed on our website, ctvnewsnorthernontario.ca. Time now for our first check on weather, and the dark clouds are moving in across the region. Is this a sign of a change in conditions to come? Here's CTV's Tony Rima with a look ahead.
Thanks for that, Marina. Well, increasing cloud cover right across our broadcast region. This is where we stand right now. Things aren't too bad, but things are going to get a little bit more overcast and a chance of showers depending upon where you live, especially in through tomorrow morning. You see all that cloud cover and that rain, and there's also a risk of thunderstorms later on too. And as you see, the system is going to move ever so slightly in an easterly direction, but it's going to stick around for a while yet. More weather details later in our show. Marina.
All right, thank you for that, Tony. Yes Theatre has announced another extension of its production of Come From Away. What was originally supposed to wrap up in 2 weeks has made Yes Theatre history for an additional 7 weeks of performances. Yes says the musical continues to set records for the theatre company, as when tickets first went on sale, they broke their record for most pre-sales at the box office.
There was a clear indication at the beginning that it was going to be like a pretty wonderful avalanche. And it has now, with this announcement until September 4th, it has become the longest running show in our organization's history, which is absolutely thrilling. And it's really clear that audiences love the piece. It's having great success around the country, but I think, as we've been hearing, the Yes Theatre production is really unique.
Tickets will be on sale tomorrow for the added shows, and Costantini says he appreciates how the community has supported them on their adaptation of the beloved Canadian musical. Still to come on CTV News at 6. North Shore Health Network is discussing options for a single-site hospital for the central Algoma area. We'll tell you why. And students' rocket building skills are being put to the test in Timmins.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
The 3 First Nations along the Highway 69 corridor south of Sudbury celebrated a new maintenance contract and some provincial funding today. But as CTV's Angela Gemmell reports, highway safety and the 4-laning of Highway 69 were also top of mind.
One of the companies doing this construction work on Highway 69 at Magnetawan First Nation is the same one celebrated at an event down the road.
We want to make sure everyone is safe, anywhere where they come from, down east, up north, out west. They travel through here to go to Toronto and cities like that.
Schwalmacan Partnership is a highway construction and maintenance company owned by 3 neighboring First Nations, Shawanaga, Henvey Inlet and Magnetawan. Along with Miller Paving, the company was just awarded the new 7-year Brit Patrol Yard maintenance contract by the Ministry of Transportation for snow removal and salting on Highway 69, along with several connecting arteries.
Not always a sunny day. But, we look forward to those days in the snow in the wintertime when we have roads to clear and salt to lay.
The event was also to announce $1.3 million in provincial funding from the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund.
It all comes together to ensure that we're providing a safe highway.
The money will mean Schwalmacan can provide year-round maintenance and enhance safety on highways it looks after. But it's highway safety that's been top of mind for many, as there are still 3 sections of Highway 69 that still need to be widened to 4 lanes.
They're very complicated negotiations. There's a number of stakeholders, and the negotiations with the 3 First Nations are in different stages. But I know that all of the parties are committed to ensure that this highway gets finished.
Any future maintenance contracts would have to go through the official tendering process, but the partners in the company are open to opportunities once Highway 69 is 4-laned.
We would all hope that a local company with local employees and local knowledge would be part of things for a long time to come.
The partners with Schwalmacan say they're hopeful any future construction projects or road maintenance will mean opportunities for residents who call these 3 First Nations home. Angela Gemmell, CTV News, Magnetawan First Nation.
Ontario Education Minister Paul Calandra was asked about the labour unrest among some of the province's education unions this morning. He says he expects the school year to start as usual.
I still remain very optimistic, to be honest with you. We've engaged, I think, in over 40 different sessions on bargaining. I know that there is some voluntary arbitration that is also happening. There has been a bit of an impasse on some of the things which will be negotiated centrally and those which will be negotiated locally. But this is not something new. It's certainly not something that is unexpected. We remain committed to get a negotiated settlement so that teachers have certainty, parents have certainty, and students have the best opportunity to succeed.
Earlier this week, the heads of several teachers and education unions said that strike action is not off the table if they fail to carve out new contracts with the government. Bargaining was paused for every union but the Ontario English Catholic Teachers Association over a dispute regarding which issues are negotiated with the province at a centralized versus local level. Most students in the province will head back to class on September 8th. Tomorrow marks the final day for people wanting to run for municipal office to sign up. Candidate registration closes at 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. And as the candidates are finalized, Ian Campbell will be bringing us a special weekly election 2026 series. He'll take a look at the issues facing northern communities, who's running, and how you can have your voice heard in the upcoming election. Municipal Election 2026 starts next Wednesday, August 26th, during our 6 o'clock newscast. The majority of emergency department closures across the province come from 2 sites in the Algoma district. Staffing issues at the North Shore Health Network's Thessalon and Richards Landing locations has long been a problem. And as CTV's Corey Nordstrom reports, an amalgamated hospital is being looked at as the solution.
Between 60 and 70% of Ontario's emergency department closures occur at facilities operated by the North Shore Health Network. That's in part why a local physicians group is pushing for a new central Algoma hospital. Officials from the network will lead the work on a project they say makes sense given the current state of the two sites.
The facility on the island is over 100 years old. It doesn't have an elevator. It doesn't have a lot of the things that, you know, it could not meet hospital standards today without spending an inordinate amount of money to bring it up to grade. And very similar in Thessalon.
Attraction and retention are among the issues in the North Shore. Murray believes an up-to-date facility can help with that.
Good diagnostics, things like a CT scanner, good lab, you know, things that can support a physician who's working in that emergency department. And right now they don't have those types, that infrastructure or those services that really make it not ideal for physicians. And a lot of younger physicians don't want to work in that type of environment.
The area's MPP is a former mayor of Thessalon and notes that amalgamation has worked in the area in recent history.
When we look back at when they first built Central Algoma School, right? There's definitely some emotions that are tied up in that, but it worked out very well. So, and it will. I mean, patience is a virtue.
The new hospital campaign is in the pre-capital phase of what is a multi-step process. They're currently gathering data to make their case for the province's Ministry of Health, which will need to approve and endorse the effort.
Hopefully the analysis can be done within, 12 to 18 months. And, by the time you break ground, a couple of years to build. And, hopefully we could be cutting the ribbon on a new place 3 or 4 years from now.
Updates on the project can be found on the Future of Healthcare tab on the North Shore Health Network's website. Corey Nordstrom, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
More than $2.5 million from the Municipal Disaster Recovery Assistance Program is headed to several communities around Magnetawan.
We know that when these massive weather events happen, and we've seen them frequently, unfortunately, in the last number of years, that it can overwhelm the budgets of especially smaller towns, townships, and villages. So we have a program there to support them when they need that help.
The townships of Armour, Carling, Jolly, Magnetawan, and Strong experienced heavy flooding in July of last year. The money is to help these communities repair damaged culverts and roads. Magnetawan is receiving the most at just over $1 million. Back we go to Tony now for a check on the current conditions this Thursday evening. Tony, what should people know before heading out this hour?
Marina, they should know that there's plenty of sunshine this evening if you're going to be heading out for a walk, or taking the dog for that stroll before the evening comes to a close. Here's a look at our current temperatures. Let's start in through Timmins, 19 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. Cochrane, a little more sunshine. Moosonee, still nice, 18 degrees. Kapuskasing is 20 degrees at this point. Should be about 22 degrees as a daytime high. So things are cooling off. Chapleau, sun and cloud, 21. Slightly cooler for Wawa. Gorgeous evening shaping up in through Sault Ste. Marie, 24 degrees. As we head to Parry Sound, mostly sunny, 22 degrees. As we go north now to North Bay, 20 degrees, a little warmer in through Timiskaming Shores, beautiful sunshine in through Kirkland Lake, and for Greater Sudbury, 21 at this hour. Same temperature and conditions for Espanola. Beautiful sunshine in through Elliott Lake and Gore Bay on Manitoulin Island. Your 7-day weather forecast is still ahead. Marina.
Great, thank you, Tony. Next on CTV News at 6. Trump vows to launch a crushing economic operation against Iran as tensions rise. And why a judge is refusing to ask for a cash bail despite Ontario's new law. Tensions are rising after a deadline for the U.S. and Iran to negotiate a peace deal expired Monday. In an online post, Trump says he's launching a crushing economic operation against Iran, calling it economic warfare on an unprecedented scale. Tehran, however, is dismissing the threat as a diversion, warning it will only lead to further defeat. This comes as oil prices jumped more than 2% after Trump's threat. The blockage of the Strait of Hormuz is also putting pressure on global fuel supplies. Iran's foreign ministry says the U.S. blockade of its ports has made it much harder to bring goods into the country, contributing to higher prices. More than a dozen people were killed when a barrage of Russian missiles hit the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv overnight. This woman describes the moment a rocket hit her building, blowing out doors and sending debris flying. Ukrainian officials say residential buildings and infrastructure were damaged by the missile and drone attack. Thousands of people sheltered in subway stations overnight. Russia claims it hit an industrial site involved in missile production. A new study shows the debate over Alberta separation has become a prime target for foreign influence. Researchers tracking the discussion have found Russian and American campaigns are trying to stoke division. It's something the Premier has concerns with too. CTV's Jordan Canigan reports.
2 months ahead of a referendum on whether to explore Alberta separation, the debate has gone far beyond Canadian borders.
Well, it's very clear that there is foreign interference.
Researchers at the University of Regina are using artificial intelligence to scan and analyze thousands of websites and social media, specifically tracking the separation debate. They found Russian-based sites attempting to shape the narrative.
Their goal is to have us start to turn on each other, is to no longer see someone who disagrees with you as someone who has a different opinion, who still cares about the country, but is actually an enemy of the country and is no longer, is sort of anti-Canadian.
Cipher AI found American influence is also present in the debate, trying to fuel disagreement ahead of the October 19th vote.
Some people pretend to be part of grassroots movements and they try to promote certain issues, but in reality, they actually belong either to a nation state or some groups that have some kind of invested interest in creating divisions.
Alberta's premier says she's been briefed by both CSIS and the RCMP, and there's been nothing criminal so far, but, quote, we are seeing influence campaigns that appear to be amplified by bot farms that may have a link to Russia. Smith told Omni TV Albertans need to be vigilant so that they're not inadvertently amplifying a message that is being used to interfere in our contest.
And so our effort is basically to identify and point that out in the sort of narratives and even the sources of those in order to be able to ensure that Canadians can have difficult conversations and that democratic dialogue.
Jordan Canigan, CTV News, Calgary.
Just days after Ontario implemented a law requiring cash bail up front, one judge appears to want no part of it. As CTV's John Woodward reports, the decision has rallied those who believe the new law is unconstitutional.
When Halton police arrested 9 people in Project Troubadour last month in a human trafficking investigation, they laid 85 charges, their largest bust in 15 years.
A coordinated human trafficking network responsible for exploiting female victims in the commercial sex trade.
One of those arrested sought bail at Milton Superior Court, and it was granted this week with a twist. Rather than demand bail up front, which is what Ontario's new law requires, Justice Scott Cohen required the accused and their sureties to pledge a total of $11,000. Reporting Cohen's reasoning is prohibited by a publication ban. A constitutional challenge to the law filed on Monday argues when a provincial law conflicts with a federal law, in this case the criminal code, the federal law comes out on top.
There's a concept called paramountcy, which basically means that if the federal government has legislated in an area like criminal procedure and bail, the provincial government can't pass a law that seeks to essentially do an end run around what the criminal code requires.
Shakir Rahim with the Canadian Civil Liberties Association is among those challenging the law, saying it interferes with federal jurisdiction and also treats the rich differently than the poor.
It creates 2 tiers of justice. That's the reason why cash bail was abolished as a mandatory or pervasive requirement in Canada. This happened back in 1972.
A Premier's office spokesperson said in a statement the justice system has a responsibility to keep human traffickers behind bars, though a core tenet of Canada's legal system is accused are innocent until proven guilty.
I think that it's likely that other judges will look to that ruling.
The constitutional challenge treated as urgent by the courts. It was filed on Monday, the same day the rules came into effect, and judges will hear it next week. John Woodward, CTV News.
There are reports that Prince Harry and his wife Meghan are set to move back to the United Kingdom. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex are reportedly relocating to a residence outside of London later this month. They moved to the United States in 2020 after stepping back from royal duties. King Charles is said to have been informed of the impending move this past weekend. The monarch has stated that there will be no change to their status as non-working members of the royal family. And there's more news ahead, but first let's get right to your full weather forecast with Tony Rima and of course some soggy days to come. Tony, what are we in for?
Marina, I'm going to tell you right now, you and our viewers out there, let's start with our forecast radar. Things aren't too bad at this hour, but this is not necessarily the calm before the storm, but the calm before the rain. So let's take a look. Increasing cloud cover, especially in through Friday afternoon. Chapleau, along with communities along the north shore of Lake Huron, Timmins, Kapuskasing, you name it, and it's just going to continue. And you can see it a little intense just north of Gore Bay and through Chapleau, Kapuskasing. And then things get a little bit more unsettled in through Saturday. These are thunderstorms right here, and that's going to be, you know, a thing that's going to happen not only this weekend, but also into parts of next week. As we take a look at our systems map, we have low pressure that is moving in, and it's bringing with it rain. And in some communities more than others. And as a result of that, it's going to move out, and we're starting to get some clearing skies, but that's going to be off and on. Overnight, this is what you can expect. In through Sudbury, some clearing skies, 10 degrees. Sault Ste. Marie, a chance of rain. Timmins, also rain coming in at 7 degrees. Timiskaming Shores in North Bay, also a shower or two. As we head on to Moosonee, this is what you can expect. Partly cloudy skies, 7 degrees. Still not all that bad. In through Cappenhurst, 8. 11 for Wawa, a chance of rain. Clearing in through Gore Bay and Parry Sound, 12, and a chance of showers. Here's our 7-day weather forecast. Starting with Sudbury, Nickel Belt tomorrow, well, risk of thunderstorms above seasonal temperatures, and then there's all that rain. We do get some clearing on Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, below seasonal temperatures. In through Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma for tomorrow, risk of thunderstorms slightly above seasonal. Then comes a big cool down, and then we start to see, you know, sun, cloud, rain kind of continuing there, and it's going to be overcast also, and a chance of rain Wednesday and Thursday. For Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, not a very nice forecast. Take a look at Sunday, only 15 degrees is the daytime high. Sometimes that's the overnight low. Tuesday, though, beautiful day shaping up, 22 degrees, spot on temperature-wise. However, Wednesday, Thursday, back to the clouds and showers. For Timiskaming Shores, Kirkland Lake, a 30% chance of rain tomorrow, 22 degrees. Then the temperature drops, the clouds increase, also some rain on the way. Tuesday looks great next week, 23 degrees. And finally, your 7-day weather forecast for North Bay, West Nipissing, sun, cloud, and a chance of precipitation above seasonal temperatures. Then on Sunday, we see that temperature drop. The clouds are going to stick around. Monday, still rain. Temperature ticks up on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, Thursday next week, not all that bad temperature-wise, but it's going to be rainy. Now let's take a look at our picture of the day. It's courtesy of George Bardeja of Sudbury, and he was vacationing at Lillian's Beach in Chiging First Nation on Manitoulin Island, and he says it was pretty nice out there, and the beach was beautiful. Thanks so much, George. Love to see your pictures. weather.pictures@bellmedia.ca, or click on the QR code. More news still ahead. Don't go anywhere.
Sudbury's Laurentian University is collaborating with a global startup program for science-based companies on a 2-year research program to help build a national AI platform for Canada's geological data. CTV's Madison Merrier has the details.
Canada's mining sector is coming together virtually through the Canadian Digital Core Library. It's a collaboration that includes Laurentian University and a startup program, Creative Destruction Lab.
What we're creating is a digital platform and a pathway for the digitized core or anything scanned, let's say in Northern Ontario, to be able to be integrated into a central platform that can then aggregate all of the different data from across the country. So we'll continue to have our repositories in the core in the locations that they are, but the digital versions of the core can actually live together in one spot.
That data set is going to be readily available, and having our researchers that have expertise in AI use that knowledge to help to bring those tools to make it even easier and to bring more knowledge.
Laurentian University will be a part of the research team and will be receiving up to $1 million from the startup over 2 years for its work on the nationwide project.
It's great research, and we already have that infrastructure of expertise and research and innovation right here at Laurentian University. So it is so important, and I'm so pleased that they are the university affiliated with this project.
Politicians and industry experts say this digital bank will help Canada's mining sector show the value of investing in Canada's critical minerals locally and internationally.
Having this Canadian Digital Core Library will allow people to find or think or analyze data so that they can actually go and explore and drill at the best place faster. So therefore it helps the whole cycle of exploration being shorter and therefore attract capitals compared to other places in the world.
Senex says the data will show mineral deposits as well as opportunities from previously discovered and new mining locations from coast to coast to coast. Madison Marier, CTV News, Sudbury.
Hundreds of students are in Timmins this week putting their rocket building skills to the test. They're participating in the Launch Canada Challenge, which is also helping to prepare the next generation of aerospace workers. CTV's Lydia Chubak reports.
The Launch Canada Challenge is now in its 5th year, bringing students together to design, build, and launch high-powered rockets.
Last November, the federal government announced that developing sovereign Canadian space launch capability was going to be a new priority.
Canada is now looking to develop its own space launch capability and recently invested in Launch Canada's programming.
So on Saturday at the conference, we had a official here from Defence Research and Development Canada who, through their Ideas program, announced $1.2 million of funding for Launch Canada to support us in developing a national training program for space launch.
Launch Canada says more than 600 participants are here this week, representing schools from throughout the country. For Team Gall out of Laval University, it's been a great experience. Students say the hands-on experience can help prepare them for careers after graduation.
It opens a lot of opportunities in various fields, mostly like aerospace, but it also gives engineering students some hands-on experience that is very valuable for any engineering job.
And getting their rocket into the air was a highlight of the competition.
So everybody was really happy to see it finally fly, and it was a really good flight, really nominal, perfect parachute deployment.
Launch Canada has held the competition in the Timmins area for 4 years. Now it wants to make the site permanent, not just for the organization, but as a true hub for testing, education, and collaboration for the aerospace industry. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Matagami First Nation.
An Ontario woman has made history with an international display of strength. As CTV's Colton Waynes reports, lifting a piece of Scottish history is what secured her place in the record books.
Big, strong, keep going.
Lori McDougall-Sukrach entered the record books on August 1st, becoming the first woman from Canada to lift the historic Dinnie Stones in Scotland.
I was the 22nd woman all time to lift the historic Dinnie Stones in Scotland. They weigh 733 pounds combined.
One weighs 414.5 pounds, the other 318.5 pounds, and were once counterweights for work on a bridge in Scotland.
It's really heavy, so it's about 4.5 times my own pound body weight, so it's pretty heavy.
The 43-year-old 5'4" strong woman has been training twice a week for a year for this specific feat at her Campbellville home, using specific equipment to mimic the lift, gaining confidence along the way.
I saw that there weren't any women from Canada who had done it so far, and all year I've been like, okay, if nobody beats me to it, I'm going to be the first.
And she wouldn't have been able to do this without help from her coach.
It's just 2 giant rocks that you have to pick up, right? So it's very skill specific. And if you're not training that specific skill, it's going to be hard to just walk up to them and do them regardless of how strong you are.
A software developer by trade, she's been competing in strongman competitions since 2016, pulling trucks, carrying cars, lifting Atlas stones, and tossing cabers.
Lori loves strongman, and the Dinnies were just kind of like the next step.
Well, McDougall-Sucrage has already lifted her goal. She's planning to head back to the UK and continue lifting historic stones.
I will try to lift other things. I haven't decided yet what my next kind of big goal is going to be.
Even if there's something that she doesn't really know about yet, if she hears about it, she's immediately going to be like, I'm going to do that next.
But no matter what, she'll always be the first Canadian woman that's lifted the Dinnie stones. Colton Ween, CTV News, Campbellville.
Now that is impressive. Way to go. Still ahead here on CTV News at 6. A community farm is expanding in Sudbury. Plus, people in North Bay are dusting off their dancing shoes for Bay Block Party this weekend. Stay with us.
Clothing provided by Laura, Melanie Lynn.
Sudbury's Flour Mill Community Farm is celebrating 10 seasons in the city and marking the milestone with a major expansion. Rethink Green hosted an open house to show off new infrastructure that will double the farm's growing space. The project includes vertical trellises to maximize production on the half-acre site, along with new programming and more paid positions for local youth. Organizers and supporters say the investment benefits the entire community.
On the other side of the path is our expansion. So included in that expansion are these trellises that you see. The trellises will enable us to do vertical farming. So we're able to grow in a larger space, even though it's a small space, it's half an acre. We'll be able to grow more in the vertical plots as well.
It's been a joint effort, a lot of collaboration, but here we are today where we have a number of youth working in the garden, earning a great salary, and when you look at the potential food shortage, we're contributing to bringing products like fruit and vegetables into the system.
I feel like it's been a pretty good experience. I love learning more about the garden and what the plants do and how to take care of them and what we can do to better support the plants and make sure that they grow healthy.
I was able to build my people skills. I was able to build communication, working as a team, and I just became more ambitious. I think really getting outside helped my mental state and my health during those 2 years I was part of the farm.
The farm is supported by all 3 levels of government and local sponsors, with upgrades continuing through the season. With the clock ticking away on summer vacation, Sault Ste. Marie's Social Service Board held its annual Game On street party today. Hundreds took part. It took to the Albion and Chapel neighborhood for the festivities, marking 10 years since the event was first introduced. There was plenty of entertainment with sports, games, and inflatables keeping the kids occupied, and also a free barbecue. Vendors ranged from fun to helpful, as the Social Services Board invited over 30 community partners to take part in the event, the most in their history.
We have the full breadth of social services at this event. We have everything from housing providers to early childhood educators and early on years. We have people who work in food security and police and EMS and fire safety. So really, it's almost like a wraparound approach to the event while making it a really fun day.
We aren't out in the community and we don't have that visibility. So it's just an awesome opportunity to tell families what we do and how we can support people, and as well as get a chance to interact in a positive, happy, light manner.
Officials say the event allows families to see the services that may benefit them in a space that is not intimidating. They estimate this was their largest turnout ever. North Bay is getting ready to rock the night away this weekend. The stage is set for the annual Downtown Bay Block Party event, described as a farewell to Summer Bash. This year's event has expanded to a two-day festival headlined by Canadian rock band the Strumbellas. The Downtown Street Fest will feature performances from local musicians. There will also be food vendors, artisans, a silent disco, and activities for kids. Organizers say they're expecting around 10,000 visitors to filter in throughout the 2 days.
Saturday is all about everything on the street, so it's about the drink garden and the music and the main stage and all of those aspects. So we wanted to make sure that we were supporting the actual businesses that are downtown. So we're encouraging people to go inside the restaurants, go inside the galleries, all of the businesses that are down there.
Bay Block Party is free to attend, but paid wristbands are required to enter the drink garden. Well, you'll pity the fool who misses tonight's Hollywood Report. David Daniel has a sneak peek at a new documentary on the legendary Mr. T.
We're about to be short on time.
Someone jumped the gun on the new Jason Statham movie. Mutiny is due out in theaters Friday, but according to The Verge, the entire film was briefly available to stream Wednesday on Amazon's Prime Video service. It's unclear why the movie was on Amazon's servers. The film's distributor, Lionsgate, has no direct connection with Amazon.
I was like, hell yeah!
David Krumholtz says he's taking an indefinite break from acting. He wrote on social media, even a successful career like his includes a mountain of disappointments, and he needs some time away, adding he's grateful to all who support and believe in me. Krumholtz, who's 48, has appeared in more than 140 films and TV shows.
Growing up, I watched my father being called boy. I ordained myself Mr. T. So the first word out of everybody's mouth would be Mr. That's a sign of respect my father didn't get.
Mr. T, I Pity the Fool, follows the origin story of a unique entertainment icon. Part of the Untold sports documentary series, Mr. T, I Pity the Fool debuts September 8th on Netflix. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
A class action lawsuit has been filed in Quebec's Superior Court over bogus cans of maple syrup allegedly diluted with cane sugar. The plaintiff originally filed an application for a class action suit in April naming the syrup producer, Steve Boudreau. Now several major grocery chains have been named to the suit, including Loblaws, Metro, and Sobeys. The filing claims they betrayed customer trust. The suit is seeking refunds and $100 in punitive damages per class member. Walmart shares tumbled today after the retailer reported slowing sales. BNN Bloomberg's Marina Fernandez has more.
The stock ended the day down over 9%. Sales were actually up 2.6% for Walmart's latest quarter, but that's far from the 4% sales the giant retailer reported at the start of the year. Walmart's profit was boosted by a tariff refund of $2.9 billion US that it got from Washington. That money is being used to help keep prices low. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 72.50 US. West Texas Intermediate up to 87.83 US a barrel. Western Canadian Select is up to 65.83. And the TSX lost 36 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marina Fernandez.
Now a look at the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold down $3.85, closing the day at $45.1841 US an ounce. Silver up $1.16, copper down 8 cents, and nickel down 2 cents, ending the day at $7.52 US a pound. Back we go to Tony now for one last look at the weather for tomorrow.
Thanks for that, Marina. Get ready for the rain, folks. Let's check out our forecast, starting with Sudbury, 23 degrees, sun cloud, and a chance of precipitation. It's going to be a wet day in through Timmins, 21 degrees, 40% chance of shower activity. In through Sault Ste. Marie, it's going to be a stormy day, a wet one too, 23 degrees, and risk of thunderstorms as we head on over to North Bay, 24 degrees, sun cloud, and 30% chance of rain. Perry Sound looks pretty nice at this point, 25 and plenty of sunshine. And in through Timiskaming Shores, 22 degrees, sun, cloud, and 30% chance of rain. Marina.
Well, luckily no rain today as more than 30 kids in Sudbury hit the water with police as part of the annual Kids, Cops and Canadian Tire Fishing Days. The national event is an opportunity for youth to learn about fishing and for police to build relationships with youth. CTV's Alana Everson reports.
Grab your rod, then go over there, grab a life jacket.
The youth pick their fishing rods they get to take home with them. A tackle box, too.
We're able to get 32 youth from various locations throughout the city. Several organizations have reached out to families that they work with, and they've expressed an interest in fishing. So they're having an opportunity to come out, join us for a day of fishing, both from shore and on boats.
For many, it's their first time fishing.
Like big. That's my goal.
How big?
This big. It's my first time fishing. I don't know much like fishing right now. That's why I came here to learn and teach my mom and my dad.
Isabella Hopkins has taken part in the event before and says she loves fishing.
Just waiting for the bite to see if it's a big fish or not.
It's also an opportunity for police to have some valuable interaction with youth.
So important because we really want our youth to be able to see our officers as humans, those behind the badge. We want youth to be able to come to us freely.
We want the kids to know that police are just like anybody else, and we want them to feel safe when they're with us and that they can come and talk to us if ever there's a situation where they need to speak to police.
Police say today's catch and release fishing expedition is about making new friendships, enjoying the outdoors, and building relationships with youth. Alana Everson, CTV News, Azilda.
And hopefully a nice catch or two. Looks like the kids all had a really great day on the water, of course. That's all the time we have here on CTV News at 6. Thanks for watching. I will see you again tomorrow. Good night.